Good morning. I'm Bill Hanson, President and CEO of Building Hope, and it's great to be with some wonderful charter school leaders from around the country in our deep dive conversation as we really talk about whether one size fits all or doesn't in our education system and in how we teach our children. And so just thank you for each of you for who you are and what you do, and for being with us today. And just such a great opportunity to come together and learn from one another, and some best practices, and just share our learnings with one another.
I'm from Health Leadership High School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and one of the things that we do is with each and every student when they come in to register, we sit down with them and we do something. We created something called an ILP, which is an individual learning plan. So sort of like an IEP, but an individual learning plan. And that's just getting kind of an inventory on what they're good at, what they enjoy doing, that kind of thing. And then from there, we actually find the advisor that we think is appropriate for them, that they would do best with in terms of learning and connect with. So that's a little bit. It's kind of a little bit, and then of course we're a mastery-based program. Thus, the students, work at their own pace. So it's a little bit of one size doesn't fit all. We try to make it broad in terms of fitting every individual.
Yeah, we as well are a very diverse community with, I'm an international community school in Decatur, and in fact that's part of our mission, is that we are immigrant, refugee, and local children all learning together. And so our multilingual children come from over 30 different countries and 30 different languages spoken. And when you spoke about the ILP, it made me think of with our multilingual learners with ESOL, that's exactly what we do, is you create an individualized learning plan with those goals based on the data of, we're kindergarten through 5th grade, which is a little bit different from high school, right? But it's still very data-based, looking at where they're at, what we want to do. And so combining that with, I think it's unique in the elementary land as well, is things that we're still going through the process of, is a lot of them are going through the multi-tiered support systems. If we're seeing that they are having difficulty with different things, and so what supports do they need? Do we need to evaluate for special education? And if so, do they need an IEP? And do they need the individualized learning plan, or do they need an individualized education plan? And where does that go?
Definitely. So I'm at Memphis STEM Academy in Memphis, and just echoing what both of you are saying, our students definitely, we're going to be driven by data. So we're going to give them what they need based on what the data says. And we have students, we have a diverse population as well. About 20% of our students are Latino, so they have ILPs. We have students who have IEPs, but all of our students receive interventions based on data. We're going to test, we're going to retest, we're going to make sure that if they're not mastering standards, we have interventionists that we've hired specifically to work with our students in math and ELA to ensure that they get what they need. So if they're not getting it in the traditional classroom setting, we're going to have teachers pushing in. We're going to have teachers pulling them out to ensure that they, that they just get what they need.
Mm-hmm. At Exploration High School in Minneapolis, for us, teachers are facilitators. So we actually call them facilitators because they're guiding our students through a process, and we want to instill in them more of a design thinking process so that they can critically and creatively solve problems. And so we're able to individualize when you teach them, hey, this is how you solve problems, and think really critically about it. One of the core parts of our curriculum is our community asset projects. And so students get to lean into their own passions. And so I think of like one of our sophomores, Nathaniel, and he was really into like mental health and figuring out what can we do better to improve mental health in our community. And working through the process, the solution he came up with was a disconnection day, where all students, and he came up with the whole schedule, he worked with me and the teachers, and came up with, hey, this is what we're gonna do, no phones for the whole school day. If that had come from me as the principal, I would have had all the kids storming out of the school.
Right.
And when it's leaning into their own passions, their interests, and we had a community meeting at the end of the day, and he got the biggest ruckus in the 2 years that we've been as a school, that's empowering and that's individualized.
So for our school, we're a K-12 school in Medford, Oregon, and so we serve kids across 2 counties. And so what we do is it's really unique where we have every subject, and every subject you have vehicles that you can get a student in education in that subject. So much like you call it facilitators, we call our teachers education specialists. And those education specialists will loop with kids K through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12, and they meet with them every week one-on-one, and they get to know the child, but they also get to know mom, dad, dog, cat, everybody. And so it's harder for a student to fall through the cracks, if you will. So for English language arts, we have a curriculum catalog that they could say, I want a book curriculum for English language arts, but I want an online curriculum for math, but I want a class at your school for science. And for PE, I think I want to do karate, and we have community partners that they can do karate. So that education specialist gets to know that family, and then they'll say, okay, so you want to do a book at school, or a book for English, you want to do math online, you want to do science at school, and so we have campus classes going all the time, and families are really choosing what they're looking for. And so for us, it's like I heard someone say one time, if you miss people, you miss the point. The point of life is people. And so these people all have dreams and desires, and we have to get to know them so we know what fits best. We have a little girl who's graduating high school this year who wants to be a professional ballerina. She doesn't want to do very much at school. She wants to get her schoolwork done so she can work on her ballet. But then we have other students who are doing things a lot at school, and then we have a tutoring center in between so they can get help in any subject. So even if they're doing a book curriculum, they can come into our tutoring center, and we have 3 tutors there that can really just check in on how they're doing besides that education specialist. So it really helps students feel like their path is unique to them.
We're a project-based learning school, thus the students get to choose what they want to learn about, and so we have a capstone program for the seniors, and what they do is they pick something that they're passionate about, and they work on that. They do the research, they do a paper, they actually do a documentary at the end of the school year, and they present it to community members and to our board. So again, it's something that they want to do, something that's individualized to them. And we also work with the families. We work with the families, we get the brothers and sisters involved, we have family nights, family engagement nights.
That's our vision as a senior capstones our senior year, because we'll have our first graduating class. And we've thought through kind of what's that progression from 9th through 12th grade. And in 9th and 10th, we have extended learning opportunities, ELOs, where we see the Twin Cities as our extended classroom. We want our students going out in community to visit University of Minnesota or see their engineering lab or go to a Star Tech company or General Mills. I mean, all the Fortune 500 companies in the Twin Cities, there's so much that students can learn from experts in the field and then assess for themselves, do I like that? Is that something I might be interested, or nope, like that is not for me. And really experience that. So by the time they're in 11th grade, they do work-based internships and programming. So some of our students right now are building a tiny house, or they're doing social media for a local bookshop across the street, but tailored to their own interests that they've kind of exposed to a lot. And then I want to chat about what senior capstones, but that's kind of our vision of something that's deeper dive into their own passion interests. That's also a public exhibition.
We found that junior year is actually a better year for them because there's a lot of senioritis for seniors, and they will like kind of fall off. And if we know their freshman, sophomore year, great. But if we know their junior year, we can use our resources their senior year to really get them going in the right direction. So it's a foot in the door. We have a student named Cole, and Cole's graduating this year with welding certificates. And that child will make more money than I do in the next 5 years because he has every certificate for welding that he can. But we had to find that out his junior year. So his senior year, he could work on school, and then he could also get all those welding certificates. So he's just going to be gone as soon as it's done and off on an oil rig somewhere, I think.
Different.
Yeah.
So the magic of senior capstone is we have 2 instructors that come in, and they are with the seniors the entire time. The seniors actually only come to school for 2 hours, 2.5 hours in the morning, and then they go out and we provide paid internships for the seniors as well as for our juniors. So we bring them together and they get all of their instruction within those 2 hours. You know, they pick their program or their passion, their whatever it is they're interested in doing research on, and then with the teacher's help, they incorporate and implement all of the sciences, the math, the English, language arts, that kind of thing. So we're actually this week, today and tomorrow, our seniors are at the community center doing their exhibitions for their finals. So it's exciting.
With some of the challenges that we have on resources, how do you go about this, and how do you have your faculty engaged to really help promote the individualized learning as well? Is this something that they come ready to do, or is this something you have to train them to do with your curriculum? Charlotte, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it has been, like, we've had to be really intentional when we have gone and are recruiting staff. For us, that has meant, like, for staff who are representative of our community and who maybe speak multiple languages and the languages that my students speak as well. I think that's been part of it. But not only that, but also folks who, like, for example, my own self, like, I'm director of community and culture. So I have a background in school counseling, but I also have a background I'm ESOL certified, and I also have a background, in teaching homeroom, and a lot of my staff have that multiple kind of background information. And it's hard though. Like, we've had to be super, super intentional about it. We've had to think really hard about where we go to recruit teachers, how we also can collaborate with our community partners. I've heard some of y'all say that too. I mean, they're there. So, like, how can I tap into what is around me? And then even my local district, we are personally a charter school of our county. That's who gives our charter. And so there are certain things like the MTSS process or my special education things that I can tap into the district for, our school psychologist, where they have some of those things that I can't afford to hire on my own, but I can tap into the district for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the partnership with the district is very important. Obviously, because we too, receive resources from them, but we train our teachers. We find the desire and passion and love in our teachers, and then we help get them certified in those areas. So, for instance, we're a STEM school, so we infuse STEM, throughout our K through 5 curriculum. And it's like, okay, well, where do you get these certified STEM teachers from? We make them. We find the teachers who have the passion, who love it. We send them through the Project Lead the Way training, which is the certification program. And, if they want to do it, if they have a desire to do it, then they're going to run with it. So once we give them the tools, they run with it. They find their own resources. I have a teacher now, she's written so many grants. She will find the grants. I don't even have to bring that to her. She said, Ms. McGee, I'm going to write this grant. Oh, okay, well, absolutely. So they find the resources, and then we also have partnerships with our local universities, University of Memphis, for one. So there's a hub where we can go and gain resources from them. So we find the partnerships, but it starts with first the passion from the teacher, and then just to move it away from STEM, because there's a teacher shortage. We know that, right? We build those teachers and leaders within our building. So, we have educational assistants who come in and assist. And it's like, you want to be a teacher, right? They have a desire to want to be a teacher. And then we partner again, University of Memphis, and other universities, CBU, Christian Brothers University. They have programs. They'll partner with us to get our, pre-service teachers, as I like to call them, in those programs where they can gain certification. So I think first, finding the people who want to do the work and who love the work and the passion. Throughout our network, we say that all our teachers are I heard you say educational specialists. What do you call your teachers?
Mine was education. His was facilitator.
Facilitators. We're the CEOs of our classrooms. That's what our teachers are. So we empower them to do that work, but it starts with the love and passion. You have to find the individuals who want to do the work. And then we find the resources to get them certified and to get them to be able to confidently do that work.
What you just said reminded me of a saying, when the principal sneezes, the school catches a cold. And one of the things that somebody said to me one time is, you know, you're so passionate. I can tell you that you're so passionate that you glow. And so when you glow for people, I had someone who just got hired on our team. He's coming from an Ivy League school, and he goes, well, if that's what you think I'm worth, and I'm like, oh no, that's not what I think you're worth. That's what a charter school can afford. But our people have stayed with us years and years. They know they've bought into the passion. They want to be there. We've been named one of the 100 best nonprofits to work for in Oregon for like 5 years in a row. And it's not because they're getting paid all this amount of money, or they're like getting all these great things that maybe other schools can get. But we're really a family, and that family comes from the culture that the leader has said that we believe in this and we're passionate about it. And when you're passionate about it, then your people become passionate about it. Right. And they want to stay. They want to grow from within and become teachers and then become administrators. And it's just, it's a calling. It's a wonderful calling.
Right. Our best resource are our teachers, you know, our staff, and we have to find ways to invest in them and to empower them. Even if they don't think that they can do it, it's our job to make sure that they believe that they can do it. So if I need a SPED teacher next year, I have someone I have my eye on. Like, you want to teach SPED, right? Oh, you know you can do this. You're so wonderful with the students. You know you are. You know, and I'm going to put those resources around her and push her to do that. Our best resources are in our buildings.
You see something in them that they don't see in themselves yet.
Absolutely.
Well, and the whole thing is the whole one size doesn't fit all, and it starts with the staff, right? And so when you start with the staff in that model, then you can translate it over to the students, right? Because it goes both ways.
Right.
Creating that safety for your teachers and your students is important. I mean, the trust, right? The trust is enormous. It goes a long way.
Transparency.
Absolutely, transparency. Yes.
I love that you said family.
Yeah.
'Cause I think that's a huge part. When we hire our staff, it's an intensive process. That's 3 different rounds, and the last one is 3 hours on campus, getting to meet with our students and our families and our board and teachers, and really understanding, like, is this the right fit? Is this part of how are you fitting within that family? Is really important.
When we do interviews, the first round is actually us telling them about the school. It's not that us asking them questions, it's us telling them all about the school, getting them bought in, they're like, okay, now I'm ready. And we're like, okay, second round now we'll ask you some questions.
You guys have both talked about home engagement with the home families as well, and just any lessons learned or ways of on the individualized learning that you're able to pull that in to really help understand the students' needs? Or?
For us, a teacher can choose to meet their family at their home. And it's a mutually agreed upon location when they meet once a week. So it can be at school if that's not a great home life, but we ask that parents come to it and they know. And that's why the teacher can know so many facets of their life. And if they start to fall off the track, they might go find them at their job and be like, okay, we need to get you back into school. Or so it really is that the teacher will know every aspect of that family. And if the home is a lot of what they're in, it's imperative for us to understand what their home is, because they can't learn if we don't know what their home is.
Yeah, for us, we have something called SLCs, and so it's student-led conferences. And so actually what we do is we invite the parents in, and they come in kind of like a parent-teacher conference. However, our students lead the conference, and they tell their parents what they're learning, the subject, whatever it is, what their project is in that classroom, and how they're going about to get to their end result, their goal. So it's great because the student knows more about what they're doing than anyone else. So they get to lead the conference with their parents.
That's similar to us, and one of the things that we've learned through the years is the secret to help engage families. It's 2 things. 1, food, and 2, babysitters. Make sure that there's childcare for families.
Yeah, and when we do home visits as well, and one of the things that we do with home visits is we actually say when our teachers do home visits, we definitely make sure translators go along with them if they need it, and we pay for that and pay the rate that those translators deserve. And then also, actually, when they go out for those home visits, we tell them, just go get to know the families. Actually, that's not conference time. Like, that's just get to know you time. And usually there's a lot of food involved with it and a lot of other pieces to it, and it is. And so it's like once you have started building that relationship, because that's what it's all about, is that relationship. And once you've started building that, then you can go, keep going down the line.
Several of our administrators are interpreters. So, and they've been there for 5, 6, 7 years. And so some of the families that only speak Spanish they feel very comfortable coming to those individuals because they're the interpreters. And they've created really strong relationships to where they call them, I'd really like for you to, the parents will call, I'd really like for you to look into this for my child, or, this is going on at home, how can you help us? And then, then they're referred to the student support team or out into the community. My child is really interested in being a dental hygienist. Is there anywhere, do you have any connections where they could go and do an internship? And so, but they're really comfortable with those individuals that are the interpreters because that's the language that they speak. So,
for us at Exploration, I think that is key to why we've been successful in just 2 years on a shoestring budget, opening a new school, is the relationships. And that's how we can be resourceful at the end of the day. It's the magic, as you said, in the classroom with the teachers, to have those irresistible classrooms. And then it's the relationships with the community partners, building that, relationships with the families. And that doesn't cost money. That's just how are you building that and investing in that.
You got any illustrations on how the community partnerships have, I know a lot of times it's just personal relationships with the teachers or the leaders, but any programs or ways that you've tried to implement this specifically? Or?
We work with an organization called Future Focus, and they're an organization that their mission is to better the community, providing education to provide healthier communities and provide an education for those who would be have less of an advantage in terms of getting a higher education, so to speak. So we work with them. We also work with an organization, we work with a lot, but another organization, the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, which provides over $70,000, $80,000 in scholarships every year for students. So, and a lot of those students are Spanish speaking and who wouldn't be able to go to college if there weren't those scholarships. So those are a couple.
I like to tell my teachers, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so if you want to have a tough conversation with a family, you better have filled what I call their love bank first. And so that might be going to a child's baseball game one time. I don't need you to go to the whole season. Yeah. Go to that child's baseball game or their play or their performance, and so that doesn't necessarily cost money for you to know when their birthday is and to like celebrate that day or to find out what's going on with that family and make sure. So when you're talking about not costing money, you can fill people's love bank by getting to know who they are, and then if you know who they are, you can have those conversations with what they need, and because at a level that they will now listen to you.
Thank you so much, and I think we need to patent the love bank term.
Love bank,
It's probably my best takeaway from our conversation today, but I just really want to thank each of you for the opportunity we've had to share each other's lives and experiences and the ways that we can help create individualized learning opportunities for all of our students, and just really appreciate your leadership and thoughtfulness and just what you brought to the table today, and learned a lot from this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you too.